Good evening, all. Reverend Father Emmanuel P.J., Director, Christian College of Law, and Director, Center for International and Domestic Relations. Respected Professor Dr. Jonas Richard, Professor Dr. Madhu Dhruva Kumar, Heads of Social Work and Commerce PG departments. Respected resource persons, esteemed colleagues, and dear participants. A warm and heartfelt welcome to all present for this significant faculty development program on innovative education, integration of sustainable development goals, jointly organized by the Department of Commerce PG, Department of Social Work, and the UN Academic Impact Hub for SDGs. I'm honored to be part of this 7-day program. I have gone through the brochure. This FDP addresses a subject of utmost importance, integrating the Sustainable Development Goals into educational framework. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development challenges not only to understand the SDGs, but also to contribute towards their realization through education activity. By embedding these goals into our curricula, we are not just preparing students for professional success, but empowering them to become responsible global citizens capable of fostering sustainable development across various sectors of society. We expect remarkable outcomes from this program that will benefit educators and institutions. Participants will better understand the SDGs and their direct relevance to education. You will explore practical strategies for integrating these goals into your teaching, research, and community engagements. Importantly, you will also be equipped with improved techniques for assessing and evaluating the impact of SDG integration in your classrooms, ensuring that what we teach resonates with the realities of our time. Furthermore, this FDP will enhance your capacity for research and development. It takes you to the research realms, and it improves your skills and thereby increasing the scope of academia to contribute directly to policy advocacy and institutional commitments towards sustainability. The community engagement practices discussed here will strengthen your ability to connect classroom learning with real-world impact, fostering greater collaboration with local and global communities. I must extend my heartfelt appreciation to the Departments of Commerce and Social Work for organizing this event, and to the UN Academic Impact Hub for SDGs for their invaluable support in making this initiative possible. As we embark on this intellectual journey, remember that today's work shapes tomorrow's society. Integrating SDGs into education is not just a responsibility, but a moral obligation. I'm confident that this FDP will equip us with the tools, insights, and inspirations needed to fulfill that responsibility. Lastly, I sincerely appreciate the team behind the organization of this FDP, especially Dr. Madhu Dhruva Kumar, Head, Department of Commerce PG, and Dr. Jonas Richard, Head, Department of Social Work, for charting out a relevant FDP, highlighting their concern for molding future leaders with eco-consciousness and igniting the spirit of interdisciplinary learning. Wishing you all a fruitful and enriching experience. Thank you.
Thank you, dear sir, for those encouraging words. We thank you for opening different vistas of SDG to the participants. Now, I humbly request Father Emmanuel PJ, Director, Christian College of Law, Director, Office of International and Domestic Relations and Jayantian Alumni Association, to illuminate this FDP session with his inaugural address. Over to you, Father.
Most respected the Deans of Christu Jayanti College, Professor Dr. Edward Aloysius and Professor Dr. Gopakumar A.V., Professor Dr. Jonas Richard and Professor Dr. Mathu Kumar, the co-coordinators, organizers of this United Nations Academic Impact SDG Faculty Development Program, and all the respected professors, resource persons, and participants from various parts of the country, and my dear Christu Jayanti faculty and student members. It is indeed a privilege to be with you this evening to discuss and to describe the initiatives that Christu Jayanti College has been privileged with as an SDG, goal one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations in eradicating poverty through education. As we know, United Nations is an international organization founded in 1945 and currently with around 193 countries as the members of this great international organizations. It is an organization that helps to uplift the nations of the world to adapt and adopt to the rapidly changing scenarios of the world. And it is also an organization wherein the member institutes and other countries feeling safer and feeling the welfare of the world around them through the initiatives taken by each and every country. And it was very lately that we noticed that the United Nations started these Sustainable Development Goals in the form of 17 goals, and Christu Jayanti College is very privileged to be chosen twice as the representation in eradicating poverty, not only in the country India, but also by providing quality education through our academic pursuit for the world at large with goal number 1. Today, the September 17 is World Patient Safety Day, as per the United Nations declaration, the World Patient Safety Day. And they have used the phrase, get it right and make it safe. Get it right and make it safe. In fact, what we do in our education, in all the ministries and especially in education, this is what I believe we are doing, even though it is a slogan and motto for the World Patient Safety Day. Get it right and make it safe, or you can call it as make it right and get it safe. We are empowering a community and a group of youth to make, and we're teaching them not only for a career. We often say we are training our community for a future, for life. So we are getting it right for them, and we are making sure that the world is a better place and a safer place for them as well. And that our community, our students, and everyone around us, all the stakeholders are working towards that as well. So it is with this thought I am gathering your attention to the 7-day faculty development program organized jointly by the Department of Social Work and the Department of Commerce, along with the United Nations Academic Impact Hub for the Sustainable Development Goal 1. And I really truly appreciate the initiatives taken by the leadership, the professors, the management, and everyone together in executing and exhibiting the responsibility and privilege given to us by various means. And yesterday I was talking to one of the universities from New Zealand. University name is Massey University, and they mentioned they were able to take these sustainable development goals into their academia, and they have even able to initiate a master's degree by taking all the 17 goals into the syllabus, which means there are a lot of initiatives around the world incorporating the potencies and possibilities of the suggestions given by the United Nations. And today, as we are gathered here, we are inviting the students and faculties alike to think together and discuss together and learn from each other, and especially from the discourses of the erudite scholars and versatile geniuses who are gathered here as resource persons and keynote speakers, and to understand and think outside of the box, to understand what more we can do other than the regular activities that we do as part of the sustainable development goals given to us, and especially the goal 1, and maybe, of course, all other goals as well. So at this point, I definitely have to appreciate the initiatives by Professor Dr. Jonas Richard and Professor Dr. Madhu Kumar and all the other professors and leaders who have taken this very beautiful initiative of the faculty development program, wherein I can see hundreds of participants are gathered from and around Bangalore and around the country. And I really hope and wish to see more and more such initiatives coming up in the future. And also that it instills hope in our younger generations. And we look at the world as something given to us, and we have borrowed it from our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and we have a great respect and responsibility to return to them once they are ready to take it from us, better than what we are received with from our fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers. So we are only stewards and custodians of something that is given to us, not to keep it safe alone, but to make it prosperous. And that's what the intent of the United Nations, I believe, to give and to make this world a better place. And of course, definitely United Nations Academic Impact Hub being situated in Christie Jayanti College is an opportunity, a privilege, but more than that, it is a responsibility which we are definitely committed towards. And representing the management, I'm very honored to be declaring this the faculty development program opened and inaugurated, but I definitely have to appreciate every one of you gathered here, and I wish and I challenge you, and I wish and pray that let us all march towards a world which is much better than what our parents and grandparents were able to enjoy, and even that we have learned to be part of. But let us make this world a better place, and Christie Jayanti is committed towards a better future. May God bless you, everyone. A wonderful evening of learning together and coming together. And as I began, I say, let us make this world, get it right and make it safe, as the slogan of the day of today's the World Patient Safety Day. And that might be just a coincidence, but then this is probably our intent as well. May God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Father, for the words of wisdom. The take home for us is that we are the custodians, the guardians of the earth that was handed down to us through generations. Now, I am proceeding to the final vote of thanks. Aesop once said, "Gratitude is a sign of noble souls." I deem it a privilege to extend my sincere thanks to Father Emmanuel PJ, Director, Christie Jayanti College of Law, Director, Office of International and Domestic Relations, and Jayantian Alumni Association. Father, your thoughts have set the tone to the start of this program. We are sure that it will be reflected in the sessions hereafter. Thank you, Father. I wish to thank Dr. Aloysius Edward J., Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management. His untiring guidance and strong motivation has made this program become a reality. Thank you, sir. I'm humbled to thank Dr. Gopakumar AV. Sir was thrilled to attend this program and has given us all possible support for this program. We thank you, sir. The conceptualization, implementation, and administration of UNAI Hub is all because of the brainchild of Dr. Jonas Richard, Head Department of Social Work. Sir, I thank the Almighty for having given us a chance to work closely with you and your team. We thank you, sir. I sincerely thank Dr. Madhu Dhruvakumar, Head Department of Commerce PG. It is her perseverance and efforts that has made us reach such heights. We thank you, ma'am. I believe in the dictum, together we can achieve more. On this juncture, I wish to thank my colleagues in both the Department of Commerce PG and Department of Social Work. Your constant support has reaped manifold blessings, and one such blessing is this FTP. Thank you, dear colleagues. I immensely thank the 7 resource persons, namely Ms. Shobha Sylvia Veigas, Dr. Mukund Raj, Dr. Leena James, Dr. Kalyani Rao, Dr. Baba Gnankumar, Dr. Victor Paul, and Ms. Ramya B. They were happy and excited to acknowledge our invitation to this FTP. Thank you, dear resource persons. Dear participants and students, Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Your presence, participation, and contributions will make this program a resounding success. We appreciate your commitment to innovative education and sustainable development. Last but not the least, I thank my dear students Alicia, Hefsiba, and Susan, who are working in the background and are ensuring that this program reaches the pinnacle. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to continued collaboration and growth. Thank you, and I remain. The formal inaugural function to this FTP has come to an end. I briefly welcome you all to the first session of the FTP titled Introduction to SDGs. I'm delighted to welcome the resource person of the evening, Ms. Shobha Veigas. With over 25 years of experience, ma'am has demonstrated her expertise in planning and implementation programs across a variety of development sectors, including governance and accountability, women's empowerment, gender equity, HIV prevention and control, social inclusion, marginalized community development, youth empowerment, local governance, decentralization, strengthening democratic institutions, research, policy development, advocacy, and sustainable development. She has held positions in prestigious institutions such as St. Joseph's College, Karnataka Health Promotion Trust, Center for Budget and Policy Studies, Participatory Research in Asia, and UNDP SDGCC Karnataka, among others. She served as the head of the capacity building initiatives for the SDGs in Karnataka at the UNDP's Sustainable Development Goals Coordination Center established within the Department of Planning, Government of Karnataka. She has a proven track record of leading joint programming initiatives with government agencies and the private sector and establishing partnerships with stakeholders from government, donors, civil society organization, academic institution, community organization, and private industry. Ma'am has contributed to impactful research papers and has made significant contribution to organizational publications. She has successfully designed and implemented comprehensive training programs, fostering collaboration with diverse stakeholders and demonstrating a deep understanding of sustainable development needs. She holds a postgraduate degree in social work from the School of Social Work, Roshni Nilaya, and a postgraduate degree in Kannada literature from Mysore University. She is currently freelancing. Dear Shobha ma'am, we request you to take over this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Cherry. I have a share. Thank you, Dr. Cherian, for the introduction. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Jayanti College for giving me this opportunity to come and address the participants, mainly Dr. Cherian and Madhu Dhruv Kumar and Father Jonas Richard, who are constantly in touch with me, and thank you very much for this opportunity. The distinguished guests were telling that the reaching sustainable development goals or addressing sustainable development goals is responsibility and obligation. That shows the participants' interest here, that over 150 participants actually gathered today, even though it is a time is not so conducive, but that shows their commitment and that shows their interest. And thank you for all the participants for attending this program. So Dr. Emmanuel is already spoke about a little bit about sustainable development goals, but I would like to take you back to 2012, where actually the the Sustainable Development Goals born actually during the Rio Summit in 2012. So after that, in 2014, actually there was a final draft was prepared, and in 2015, 193 countries, as Father Emmanuel said, 193 countries, 193 countries signed the agreement to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals with 169 targets. So mainly to see that to end poverty in all its dimensions. So basically the Sustainable Development Goals evolved from Millennium Development Goal. Millennium Development Goals we had from 2000 to 2015. So mainly there were 8 goals in Millennium Development Goals, and the United Nations, all the countries decided that these are the goals. We have achieved many, but still there are so many gaps. Hence, those goals were actually divided, broken into many other goals. So there were, if you see MDGs and SDGs, there were 8 goals in MDGs and 17 goals in 17 goals in SDGs, that is from 2016 to 2030 to achieve. So we have already 9 years we have completed, and we have only 6 more years. So it's very good that the commitment which academic institutions are showing to show the action and making that our country also come up with reaching sustainable development goals. And in Millennium Development Goals, we had 21 targets, and now we have 169 targets. And there were 60 indicators, but internationally 247 indicators are there. And nationally, Niti Aayog has identified 306 indicators. That doesn't mean that all these indicators will be mapped every year. No, there will be like every year there are it's a decision the countries will, United Nations will take, and the country Niti Aayog will take, that how many indicators has to be calculated, and accordingly the ranking will be done. So the priority of a Millennium Development Goal was human development, whereas the Sustainable Development Goals was a holistic and economic and social. Yeah, and scope for that, it was only for developing countries, Millennium Development Goals, whereas Sustainable Development Goals are universal. Whether you are a developed country or a underdeveloped country, this is like universal. And foreign aid, basically to look at the partnership and all, to see that the aid is Millennium Development Goals, we were depending only on the foreign aid, whereas today, in the Sustainable Development Goals, we have domestic investment, private matters, international aids, etc. So, to looking at that overall, what is the goal that Sustainable Development Goals talking about is leaving no one behind. So whether, every person has to be live with dignity. That is the main purpose of that. So that's hence it applies to every nation and every sector, every organization, every individual, even not only schools, organizations, or institutions, but also every individual. So mainly to see that it cannot be, the sustainable development goals cannot be achieved by one goal. Like for example, if you have to end hunger, you have to end poverty, you have to give quality education, you have to improve the health of the person, and you have to provide employment to the person. So I mean, these all goals are interrelated, and actually by achieving this, there will be making a big impact on the earth. So it stands on 5 P's, basically people, prosperity, planet, peace, and partnership. So mainly to see that end poverty, I mean people, when it comes like end poverty and hunger, all that. Prosperity, like SDG 8, like providing employment and so economic development of the nation. And providing peace to people is very important again. And when it's talking about planet, I mean again, today we all know that how climate crisis is actually affecting the entire globe. So it's very important that we need to how we need to take care of the planet, and for that we need partnership from all end. I mean from international to national, national to local, and local to when it comes to individual. So do we really need SDGs? If you really look at, yes, we need, because during the Millennium Development Goals, we have achieved many indicators like sanitation was improved, education was improved, HIV was actually coming to 40% reduction in HIV. So malaria was decreased. There were many indicators where actually Millennium Development Goals have contributed, but still there were challenges actually brought. I mean, like no regarding climate changes, all that actually affecting the. I mean, in the name of development, again there were so many other issues were arose. Hence, it was important that SDGs were came into place. So if you really look at today that more than 700 million people are living in extreme poverty. So there are around 152 million cases of child labor globally, and 25 million people are some forced labor, and 821 people, actually million people, are malnourished in the country. And this is one of the biggest challenge in the globe, and especially in our country. I will come back for that. And planet is actually facing a climate emergency. As you know that our world is actually hottest since the record began, and more than 800 people are already vulnerable to climate change. I mean, there are a lot of disasters which you are already seeing, and how it is affecting the people. I'm sure everybody know about that one. And sea levels are rising. Mainly the data says that global average sea level rose about 0.3 inches from 2022 to 2023. So that means again it is affecting the people. The climate impacts of climate change could cost business to, it is estimated that US $1 trillion. And wildlife population again declining almost like 60%. It's again, I mean, we need to look into that one, how actually nature is actually affected, and because of that, the wildlife population is declining. And the world's tropical forests are again shrinking. The forests are disappearing actually. So there are so many, I mean, 8 million tons of plastic enter over ocean annually. So this is again another major concern when it comes to climate change. So when it comes to SDG, I'm sure many people here who are attending know about sustainable development goals, but for the understanding of all the people here, I will give an overview how actually sustainable development goals are looking at. I mean, one is like how it is calculated globally and nationally, so that it will help you for tomorrow's session that what is the kind of action you have to take it. This website show here about the overall ranking, the SDG dashboard, which is showing all the globally where we are actually and which country is what kind of ranking. So this is the website you can go through for that. If you want to have an interest about any country, that what is its ranking and how it's placed and how their indicators are, all that you can look into this one. Top 5 countries, if you really look at, like Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and France, like they are scoring more than 80%. So this is the ranking. Whereas coming to bottom 5 countries, you will have Congo, Afghanistan, Yemen, and Somalia. So where we are then? If we really look at globally, out of 167 countries, we are still in 109, and it is not a good ranking for us. I mean, we need to, why we need to get into action? This data showing us the story. Based on this story, we are going to decide what we need to do. So you really look at here, SDG 13 climate action, we are declining. We are declining in sustainable cities and communities. So we are, the one who is showing in the red is actually decreasing, and the one who is in orange, it's basically again the challenges, not that we have really significantly not changed much. And if you really look at the orange one, the arrow showing that still moderately improving, but not great improvement. And the green is showing that we have achieved. Whereas it doesn't mean that when it shows green, that doesn't mean that we have achieved everything. We have still scope and still many indicators we are lagging behind. So this globally, if you really look at, these are some of there are around 100 indicators globally, 167 countries mapped, and in that we are 109. So these are some of the areas where showing we are somewhere like undernourishment. We are actually coming, 32 to 35% malnourishment, underweight among children, and around 50% of women are malnourished. So this actually a dangerous sign which we are here, but it's not showing. I will go into the national indicators where I will show. So these are around 100 indicators which is calculated globally. So I'm not going into one by one here because we are going into the national one. So this is the global indicators and the global ranking, and you will see the figures here. The PPT is shared with everybody. I'm sure you will understand. So nationally, where we are placed? Actually, many of you would have heard of Niti Aayog. The Niti Aayog actually bringing up the report annually, and each of the 17 goals are divided into 169 global targets, leading into 306 indicators mapped by Niti Aayog. And MOSPI's role is actually to collecting the data from the departments. So annually, the departments from the states, all the departments, like around Karnataka has around 40 departments. The department has to send the data to the Ministry of MOSPI, and Niti Aayog will take the data from MOSPI and other sources, and basically they are coming with the common indicators they are calculating. So the Ministry of External Affairs basically looking at the international collaboration partnerships. So this is basically how nationally SDGs are monitoring. At the state level, most of the places, the planning department is the nodal department for monitoring the sustainable development goals. So SDG India Index, if you're really looking at 2023 report has come, and since 2018 we have 4 reports, and you will get it in Niti Aayog website. You can go there. We have actually improved from 57 to 71 score now. I mean 2023-24 we have scored around 71, and the statewide score range actually between 57 to 59, and UTs between 65 to 77, and front runner, that is something like good number, like 65 to 99. There are around 32 states are coming under the front runner category. Top states, if you really look at Uttarakhand and Kerala, and top UT, you can see Chandigarh. The highest increase in score, SDG 13 and SDG 1, that is no poverty. So 2024 report, I mean, we have actually improved in 63 indicators. That is one of the, I mean, good way of that. Okay, we are improving. I don't say that we are improved. We are improving. So the decline, we are actually declined in 28 indicators, and there is no change. That means again we are not improved. So there are around eight indicators. So if you really look at, I mean, goal-wise, I have given you the status here. I mean, it shows some improved numbers are big. It shows where there are more indicators. So hence it is showing big number. So altogether, we have around 114 indicators. In 2023-24 report, it is calculated. So one by one, if we really look at SDG 1 talking about no poverty, we have from 27.90 to 14.96%, we have come in MPI. MPI is multi-poverty index, which has 13 indicators. Based on 13 indicators, this figure would arise. Mainly to see that these 13, for example, even one of the indicator, if the person is deprived, that person comes under the MPI. For example, when it comes to sanitation, housing, asset, nutrition, education, all these some of the indicators which are actually comes under MPI. So health schemes and insurance schemes, basically why it comes to end poverty, mainly because to see that the people who are actually in poor will be having the additional burden when they are fall ill, because the hospitalization will become for them an additional burden. So hence that is actually this goal is here, I mean sorry, indicator is here, and slightly there is an improvement. That doesn't mean that all the people have household covered by health insurance. So this is one place where awareness is required. NREG employment provided against demand, of course, we are improved a lot. So beneficiaries under Prime Minister Matravandana Yojana, again from 91% to 46, we have declined actually. For every year when you are calculating the figures, we are basically declined, and people who are living in kacha houses, again slightly we are decreased. So these are some of the indicators showing us, telling us a story that what we're supposed to do, where we need to address, and how we can give the awareness to people to address poverty. And if you really look at end hunger, there are 3 indicators we are declined, and other indicators like under 5 years who are children under 5 who are underweight doesn't mean that it is a good number at all. From 33 to 32, if it has come, it's a slightly decline, but it's again a big number of it's a percentage, big percentage, because if you really look at the pregnant women who are 52% are anemic, and these anemic mothers, when they give birth, again their children become underweight or stunted or wasted. So this is like a vicious circle where we need to address that. I mean, when you are working in the colleges, schools here, it's very important to understand that children, I mean the teachers and faculty has to address on the nutrition importance to people. Nutrition is the issue, not only the poverty issue, but also the lifestyle issue. Hence, it is very important when we are working with the young, especially young girls between 14 to 19 or 16 to 19. They are the group actually more vulnerable. I mean, it's almost like 50% of the girls are actually malnourished. So this indicator is not here, but I think it's very important that they have to be addressed, and the education institution has to give more focus on these indicators, because they are the one become the future mothers, and when they deliver the kids, again they become either stunted or underweight or wasted. So it's very important that we need to focus here. And pregnant women whose BMI is low, again, I mean, there is a very slight improvement, but doesn't mean it's a new indicator. But again, there is a slight improvement from the previous data actually. Rice and wheat produced, again, we have slight improvement. These are the indicators showing that when I have written plus here, doesn't mean that this is improved drastically. No, we still have to reach either the negative indicators, we need to become 0, or the positive indicators we have to become 100. So it's very important. Again, 100% marks means the 100 is not the good number. There are again the scope, because population is increasing. So the awareness is the first step for action. We need to have more and more awareness about nutrition. All these are the IECs which we have developed, Karnataka state has developed to provide awareness to people. I think the college students and school children can develop a lot of information communication materials, education materials, so that or maybe different kinds of conference or workshops can be held on nutrition itself to address these kind of challenges. And SDG 3 talk about good health and well-being. We have around 9 targets. So we have 11 indicators. That in 2 indicators we are still declined. Mainly suicide and death due to road accident. I'm sure colleges, the faculty, I mean, who is here participated from all over India. I think, especially the youth, we need to give lot of mental health programs, because the committing suicide rate among youth is increasing, and especially boys again. So we need to be addressed. When we talk about gender equality, we also talk about the boys issues here. So suicide rate actually is increasing, and death rate due to road accident again. We know that lifestyle of youth, so there is no need for me to orient about this, but we need to, I think, focus on these things. And the other indicators like how many physician, nurses, midwife per 10,000 population. If we have hardly 49 people. So I mean, we need to have improvement in these things. I mean, when this is also mainly because again, when we are talking about higher education, I mean, I'll come to that one when next, when it's again affecting, looking at that, the higher education, people going into higher education is very less. So that is also reflecting on these things. So it's very important to looking into that one. And when we talk about the SDG 4, it is quality education. So we have very good number in adjusting net enrollment rate in elementary education. It's 96.50. That's a good one. And but again, when it comes to 9th and 10th, we have like 13% dropout. So we need to bring it to zero. How we need to bring it to zero? That is also one of the concern. GR in higher secondary is again 57.60 only. I mean, yes, it may show plus here, but again, it is not a good, really good number. Then the minimum proficiency level in language and maths, again, it is 77. And in rural, it comes to, if you really go into the rural and urban, data, it is very poor in the rural sector. And now it's showing that GR in higher education, it shows improvement, but again, actually, only 29% of the students are going into higher education. So this is again, though it looks improvement from the previous 2021 report, but again, we need to focus into that one, how we really can encourage people to go into higher education. Percentage of disability completed at least secondary education, only 19%. So these are the, indicators showing. I will not going one by one indicators, but looking at this one, like you will understand the story that showing positive is not actually a good sign even. I mean, there is a very slight improvement in some of the data, and there are some places we are good. I mean, today enrollment rate is in the primary sector is really good, that we need to appreciate. It doesn't mean that all the indicators which are showing slight improvement, we need to go much beyond this. Pupil teacher ratio again declined. That is again one of the indicator which we need to consider. So SDG 5 talks about gender equality. So we have around 9 targets here. This is one area which this is actually a cross-cutting goal actually. So every goal we need to look into the gender aspect. So mainly the report has come, Global Gender Gap Report 2024 by World Economic Forum, actually released in the month of June. And 146 countries actually mapped on 4 indicators. That's economic partnership, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. In that, our rank is 129th rank. And with 1.4 billion population, we are scored only 64.1. So this is again another place. I mean, overall SDG ranking, again, we are back. I mean, we have to achieve a lot. And in gender gap, we need to, in gender equality, we need to look into this one, because this is again and not a happy rank for us. So Global Gender Gap Index 2024 lacking, if you really look at the top countries, Ireland, Finland, Norway, New Zealand, Sweden, and all, I mean, like everybody has scored more than 80 or 90%. Whereas when it comes to South Asian countries global index, when we look at, we are again in the 5th. We are much back from Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. This is again not a very good sign. I think we need to focus a lot on gender equality. So some of the indicators, if you really look at, like, I mean, this is global report actually I have collected from different sources. 10% of the world's heads of today are women, only 10%. So the gender gap, pay gap is 20% worldwide, and 1 in 3 women globally have already suffered physical or sexual violence from their intimate partners or non-partners. So every 11 minutes, a woman or girl is killed by the member of their own family. So 800 women die every day worldwide from complication of pregnancy and childbirth. 270 million women worldwide have no access to modern contraception. 40% of the women worldwide live in countries where abortions are restricted, and more than 1,200 girls are at risk of female genital mutilation every day in 2024. This is a WHO report, which is actually worrying. It's worrying. So we may say that our country, this is not there. Definitely, I mean, the indicators it's not showing, but these are the issues are everywhere. So if we really look at the indicators, there are 9 indicators are in 2023-24 report. 9 indicators were mapped. In that, actually, one of the indicators, women have experienced cruelty, physical violence by husband and his relatives, has actually come down. Whereas looking at the other indicators, are we good? We are really not good. I mean, sex ratio at birth, if you really look at, it's not a great number. We should have more than 1,000. Then if you really look at the women in managerial position, if you really look at, for every 1,000 managerial position, there are only 210 women. So that again, there is no equality. I think we need to have many women also in the managerial positions. But again, there are a lot of challenges in, I mean, if you really look at the data, even IAS officers data, if you really judges data, if you look at police officers data, if you look at corporate data, if you look at everywhere, the data showing a very wide gap between men and women. Operational land holding, women only 13% or 14% of the women are actually owning the land holding. So how do we, I mean, when there is no ownership on land or assets, then how do you expect women to be empowered? How can they take the, I mean, like, decisions even at the home? So these are some of the issues where actually the education institutions or research institutions has to focus on these things and see that how important it is to women to hold the assets, especially in the operation land holdings. So only 50% of the 54% of the women own mobile phone. So today's is a technology world, and this 54% is not the one who has the internet connection. The people, women who are actually holding at least the mobile. So again, I mean, like, only if there is 54% women are, what about the rest of the women? So we need to again see that the reality of the country is that there are more than, I mean, like around 47% or 46% of women are still do not have the mobile in their hand. So this is also we need to look at. And the new indicator, married women participate in three household decision. This is one of the new indicator which Niti Aayog has added this year. So if we look at SDG 6, clean water and sanitation, we have slightly, I mean, if you really look at the rural population, there are many places people have improved source of drinking water. Doesn't mean that it comes to the near the house. At least they have improved source of drinking water. And the data showing Swachh Bharat, under Swachh Bharat mission, individual household toilets constructed again target, we have reached 100. That again, 100 doesn't mean that we don't have the scope for again to do the construction of toilets. There are new houses are coming, and the population is increasing. The families are divided into nuclear families. So there is skill, but against the target, how much it has achieved, that is the number, it shows the 90%. School with functional toilet facility for girls again has come down now. Mainly what we need to look at here is the block mandals taluka overexploited. So almost like 11% of the blocks and blocks or mandal or taluks or panchayats, so overexploited with the groundwater withdrawal. So we need to give a lot of awareness towards this. So if you really look at the SDG 7 again, affordable and clean energy. So we have two indicators here, and almost we are reached, I mean like 100%, but household have clean cooking fuel, we have 96%, and from 92 to 96 we have come. So household have access to electricity. Again, it is against the target. We have reached this indicator, which is a fairly good indicator. So if we look at SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. So unemployment rate is now we have 3% now. So you may ask, many people may ask that so many unemployed youth are there, so many people are there. Like, no, where are they into the data? So the reality, there are realities that we have unemployment, but this is overall unemployment. Like, no, I mean, totally unemployed youth. So not doing anything. So labor force participation slightly improved to 61%, but again, we need to have more labor force participation, which would actually contributing to the economy of the country. Regular wage salaried employed in non-agriculture sector without any social security benefit. I mean, this is actually increased. It's a negative indicator, which is actually not a great sign. But other, I mean, like banking, we have banking for 1 lakh, we have 12 banking outlets, ATMs, we have good ATMs everywhere. We have ATMs now. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan account held by women, only 55% women with the targeted population. So if you really looking at goal 9, we have all-weather roads under Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. We have around, I mean, everywhere we have most of the all-weather roads are available. But still, I mean, I was telling that 100% doesn't mean that we have achieved everything. There are still, I mean, like, no, new roads are coming, new villages are actually, I mean, like, no, places like the new roads are actually emerging. The required for the new roads are emerging. So that's very important. So the gross value added from the manufacturing sector, mainly contributing to the manufacturing sector to the economy, actually we have only 14%. And gross value added from the service sector only 54%. These are not very great numbers for us, and total workforce employed in the service sector only 27%. So total workforce employed in the manufacturing sector, again, it has decreased. So these are some of the places, I mean, when we are actually, why this is very important, because the future youth coming from the education sector, going to the employment. So when they are going to the employment, so where actually employment will be generated, whether it is industry, corporate, manufacturing, service. So all this we need to look at, and we need to see that our youth are going into the workforce, so that either service sector or manufacturing sector or other sectors where they are engaged, and hence the gross value added would be improved. So some of the, I mean, if you really look at, I am not going one by one indicators because there is a time shortage. I have to finish this in 10-15 minutes now. Am I right, Cherian?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this is not a conducive environment and time for people to listen for hours together lecture. I'm really sorry, but I need to give this overview so that this data will give you a story that to understand that where exactly, like, no, we need to focus on. So that is the only reason, because from tomorrow's session onwards, the sessions will be going to see that what is the kind of action you need to take. But to see that, I mean, to understand, I may give the overview of only the SDGs, but where we are as a country, we need to look at, and so that how we can actually contribute to improve these indicators. So hence, that is the reason I am giving these numbers, and numbers are not the time for evening time to talk about, but I feel that these are something very important. So Gini coefficient, like for example, income or wealth inequality. I mean, if it is like 0.2, 2.0 means again we have there is inequality with in income or wealth. So that is also the showing. Then Panchayat Raj institution, seats held by women 45, which has come slightly down. I mean, there are 20 around more than 20 states. Actually, we have around more than 50% of reservation, whereas not all the Panchayat Raj Act talking about 33% reservation, but over 20 states actually made it as 50%. That's the one good indicator. That again doesn't mean that all the women who are in the Panchayati Raj institutions are empowered. Not that, but bringing them to the platform is one of the first step to make them to get empowered. So, and getting the knowledge of political decision making and giving them the political decision making power. So, and rate of total crime against SCs and STs again increased. So that is also one of the thing which we need to, I mean, like, take care of that. So how we can take care, and by giving them, I mean, understanding about the marginalized sector. That is one of the way to looking into that one, and see that everybody are equally treated under the constitution. So that is one of the main things which we need to look at. I think there is a lot when we talk about these things, we need to talk a lot on constitutions and right to equality and many rights. I mean, the fundamental rights. So the SDG 11 talk about sustainable cities and communities. You will see a lot of actions here in the IAC showing the future lies in the cities, because the cities are increasing now. There are many cities are increasing, and rural to urban shift is becoming very, very fast now. So hence, while cities are increasing, the issues are also increasing. So that need to be addressed. For example, urban household living in kacha houses, there is a slight increase. And individual household toilets construction against Swachh Bharat mission again decreased from 105% to 95%. So deaths due to accident, as I already said, that urban, especially cities, it is increasing. And wards with 100% door-to-door waste collection, mainly when it comes to sustainable cities and communities, the major indicators are waste collection, municipal solid waste generated, and 100% source segregation, and install sewage treatment capacity as per the percentage of sewage generation to urban areas. These are some of the major indicators. Whereas we have not so much of improved, but I mean only in one area, like door-to-door waste collection, we have slightly improved. You may again ask another question. There are so many places in like cities, the waste is dumped and the waste segregation is not done. The issues are there. So these are all the challenges for us, that data in one side talking about the giving us the figures, but also we need to look at that the realities in our communities, around our communities, what is that we need to do. So when it comes to SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, this is one of the indicators where we have to talk about fossil fuel consumption, about again increased. So mainly the coal and other materials which are used is increased. Actually, nitrogen fertilizer used out of total NPK is again increased. Hazardous waste recycled to total hazardous waste is only 54% improvement, but not so much. Plastic waste generated per thousand population actually 3.0 tons. Again, it is so. I mean, I'm sure educational institutions are giving so much importance about not using plastics. So giving a lot of awareness about these things. But how do we really ensure that people really don't use plastic? So that is very important. What is the kinds of campaign we can do against to address these things? And as I already told in the beginning itself, that a lot of plastics, tons and tons of plastic is going to the sea. So how do we prevent that one? Within our campus, how can we do? Within our community, how can we do? So the universities and colleges have responsibility. Unnat Bharat Abhiyan mission we have, so that we have outreach programs, schools have outreach programs. So how do we really looking at this? So it's very important that how we are making the children and the young adults, I mean youth, uh, how we really making them so conscious and conscious about the civic mannerism, like plastic waste management, one of the things. So we looking at the SDG 13. So we have a better improvement in most of the indicators, but again, looking at this disaster preparedness score, we have only 19. So that is not a, I mean from, there is no change is one, and also, I mean, we need to have, I mean, like for example, everybody knows about today, why not disaster, how it has happened. So unexpected, we say, I mean, in Karnataka, we have Shirur. I mean, so many places today, I mean, there are a lot of disasters are happening. How actually the states or districts or the panchayats are prepared for that. So, I mean, where there is a, I mean, the colleges, I mean, the participants who are here from the colleges and universities need to look at that, what is the kinds of strategies or ideas can be provided to the government and the local communities and the local governments, so that people will be prepared for like no when there is a disaster. So these are some of the things which we need to look at. And if we look at SDG 14, life below water, so mainly I mean there is a one area, mean shore zone coastal water quality actually is highest in West Bengal. That is one. Other places it is actually decreasing. So marine acidity is actually decreasing slightly. Again, here it is not a great change, but again there is a very slight change, where we need to see that like I mean we need to look at that marine I mean so mangroves has to, I mean coastal areas, this is basically the coastal areas where mangroves has to be grown, or it has to be restored. So those are the things which where the youth can actually take into campaign and see that how can be coastal area can be sustained or protected. So goal 15, if you really look at life on land, it talk about the forest cover. So if you really look at the total geographical area under forestry cover is 24.62. Again, not a, I mean, like not that every year the forest is not increasing, but somewhere we need to ensure that I mean, growing trees. Every year there is, I mean, June 5th, we are celebrating World Environment Day, and people are planting lot of plantation, but where it goes, God knows. So we need to see that these trees are protected, nurtured, and ensure that these plants are become trees, and they become the contributing to the urban or rural forestry. So percentages of covered under afforestation scheme, again, we are declined. Carbon stock for forest cover is a new indicator. Total land area is degraded. It's again, there is no change. So action is required. Desertification, again, slightly decreased. Need action. Wildlife crime, again, we need to make conscious for children as well as the youth about the the crime about wildlife protection act, crime against wildlife protection act. So very important that they should know. So this is the last one, not last. SDG 16 is talking about peace, justice, and strong institutions. Mainly, if you're really looking at a cognizable crime against children per lakh population, 36. This is not the percentage. 36 is the number. So number of missing children again for 1 lakh children, 18. This is again not the percentage. Percentage of birth register is the percentage, 89%. We are almost nearing, but still we have 11% children are missing. Where they are missing, we need to look at. There is a lot of awareness towards institutional birth is required. That is why these numbers are actually showing less. Human trafficking, again, slightly decreased, but it's not a happy indicator, the number for this indicator. So these are 16 goals are actually calculated through these, score through these indicators. When it comes to SDG 17, the partnership, mainly partnership looking at the local as well as international partnership. Today, if we are sitting and talking here, and you're all attending this program, again, is the part of the partnership. So you are the partners of the SDGs, and every individual and every institution, when they are bringing a change, and that means you are actually contributing to the global globally, you are contributing to improve the SDGs. Your small action even may say that I may switch off the lights when it is not required, definitely contributing to the global SDGs. So hence, the partnership is very important. The states, countries, and internationally, every institution, every organization, every government has to be partner. That is SDG 17. So when we are talking about national level indicators and all, but what is the government is doing for local development? So the localization, Niti Aayog has actually brought around 112 districts who are actually below the state and national average. So identified from 28 states, and actually giving a lot of attention to these districts. So based on a few of the indicators, based on these areas, health, nutrition, agriculture, financial inclusion, and skill development, and etc. So they are giving actually 112 districts are mapped every month, and see that there are improvements, and they are also appreciated financially. So in Karnataka, actually, we have Raichur and Yadgir, two of the districts, but these are the district which you go to Niti Aayog website, you will get the 112 districts list. And Niti Aayog also identified 500 blocks from these 112 aspiration districts. This is called aspiration block program, and that is called aspiration district program. So where the state and national indicators are below ranking of the blocks, so they are identified and they are giving focused, and there are around 40 indicators under aspiration block program where it is actually monitored, and they are actually appreciated and financially supported for the in a very special way from the central government. So these are some of the giving an overview of SDGs and overall introduction of the SDGs. Tomorrow you will definitely get into that, how you can actually incorporate into curriculum and what kind of action you need to take it. So I am not going to address all that today. I just thought that let me give an overview of sustainable development goals, hence where we are globally as well as a country where we are. I mean, I'm sure if you want to go to the Niti Aayog report, you for your state's report, you will get it, and you can look into that and see that how actually where actually my state has actually improved and declined, so that you can see that which of the areas we can focus as an education institution. So when we are all come together only, we can achieve more. And thank you for your patience listening, and over to Dr. Cherian and participant for their questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for those enriching thoughts. A diverse array of problems that is plaguing development was opened up by ma'am. I'm sure that this data will help us in giving concrete inputs to the efforts that we put in our educational institutions. Now the floor is open for question and answer session. Participants can orally ask questions by unmuting or ping their questions in the chat box.
I'm sure there is, it's not the time for question. It's already 7:30 for them.
And with regarding to one of the SDGs, that is SDG 10, I had a doubt regarding bringing women to the Panchayat Raj. So in the guise of bringing all these women, it's actually their husbands who are bringing these women and then playing politics. So there is no real woman empowerment happening over there. And I actually see that as a lacuna for women
I
empowerment.
completely
So the
agree.
data doesn't speak the whole truth. The data only speaks that, okay, for the namesake, there is woman. But in reality, if you would see, there is a man or acting behind that woman and controlling all the state of affairs.
No, what is the issue in local governance today is actually, see, behind every panchayat or urban governance, there is a party influence. That is first thing, where the decision will be taken. Though there is no party in the panchayati Raj, but the reality today is that every panchayat there will be decisions are taken much before the election by the parties. That is one thing. Second, your question, I agree that there are many proxy candidates, but unless and until you bring them into the political arena, I mean, see, there is a need of change over the years. It won't change because why? See, so far women were not oriented politically at all. It was the men who were politically oriented, and they are the one who go out and they are the one who get exposed. Whereas women who are sitting inside their house, bringing immediately to the political arena, doesn't mean that they will empower overnight. I mean, they need to be oriented, they need to be trained. I mean, there is a lot of change in our methodology of training the women. So all these are required. I mean, knowledge has to be given to the women, skills has to be given to the women. It doesn't mean that, I mean, from 1993 and from 1995, the first election has held. I mean, 1993, 73rd amendment has come. And later, I mean, 95 onwards, the election started in different states. But from there to today, if you really look at, I mean, there are many thousands of women actually changed. But we cannot say that all 100% women are proxy. No, There are many women today, like I mean, contested for the second time, third time, who has gained experience and actually able to take decisions in the panchayats. There are many, I mean, I have seen the panchayats where there are many women have actually able to take decisions for their own with the administration. There are cases, but yes, of course, I mean, like, no, majority of the women become proxy because there is no scope for them to empower themselves at all. I mean, if you are not given a opportunity for women and making them as just as the members doesn't help. So basically, we need to train them, build their capacities, where actually education departments can play a major role in this. So why the higher education departments who are experts in local governance issues and all can bring these women, or youth can go and make sure that they build the capacities of these women and give awareness to them through various ways. I mean, about the government schemes, how panchayat works and what is their role, all that. I mean, see, that would help actually uh, empower the women. Empowerment doesn't come overnight, especially the women who are like in northern India. If you really look at, women are in the gungat. It's not easy that overnight they have to remove their gungat and, like, no, come and talk on the stage. So it is not that easy, especially especially in the rural part of Karnataka, northern Karnataka, as well as northern India. If we really look at culturally, there are so many issues. Women are not allowed to go out of the house. And when they become the panchayat members, unless and until they go out, even to look into these kinds of issues and see that how actually make women empowered. Yeah.
Ma'am, we have a couple of questions which are lined up. The first
How are you?
question, yeah,
Pardon?
the
Yeah, there
first
is the one
question.
question. What you have say about the mental health? Yes, I mean, SDG 3 talk about good health and well-being. The well-being is basically the mental health. I mean, today it is very, very, I mean, prioritized area actually, especially, I mean, among youth. When I was talking about suicide cases and other things, mental health is very, very important. The institutions need to provide lot of mental health orientation to youth as well as children. I mean, of course, there are many teachers here. You need to focus on these things. It's very, very important area. Many institutions today, one of the positive aspect is many institutions today has kept counselors. But where there are no counselors, or where there are educational institutions are not given so much importance for mental health, there are many educational institutions where students annually committing suicide and all, which I mean, I have seen, I have observed. So it's very important that mental health is also one of the area which education institution has to focus on. Which would be better area to research among many SDGs? Every goal is good for research. I mean, there is nothing called, I mean, see, these are the indicators. You would have already seen the indicators. So which is the indicator? Actually, one of every indicator is a research topic. So if you really look at, according to me, because from the when I come from the research background, I understand that every indicator actually is one of the research topics. So what actually makes you interest, whether you are interested about poverty education, whether you are interested about malnutrition, whether you are talking about education sector. So depending upon your interest, which actually you can take the research, but all the indicators are actually the research topics.
Ma'am, we have one more question from Mr. Anil Kumar. So he has asked, good evening, ma'am, how higher education institutions can achieve SDGs in India?
higher education institution can achieve in there. Actually, higher education have a larger scope because you have actually youth in your hand, and you can actually having lot of outreach activities. So you need to orient the students on SDGs before you are sending them to outreach program. So that is very important. Also in the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan mission, again you have the responsibility that engaging students into community development. So when we are going into community development, it is better to understand about SDGs and the issues, so that the students and faculty is oriented on that, and then you see that what is that you have to make community development, and how actually those are community development activities are contributing to SDGs.
I think we are done, ma'am. So
Yeah.
thank you, Shobha, ma'am, and all my dear participants for being there. The feedback form will be shared now. It will also be shared in the WhatsApp group in case you missed it. Uh, Tomorrow, the session starts at 6 p.m. Participants can use the same Zoom link to join. We shall send the reminders in the WhatsApp group as well. Dr. Mukund Raj, Advisor, Technology Management, NABARD Consultancy Services Private Limited, New Delhi, will be addressing on integrating SDGs into curriculum design. We hope to see you all soon. This is your host, Dr. Cherian Thomas, signing off. Ma'am, thank you for taking
Thank you so much,
valuable time.
Dr. Cherian, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye-bye,
much.
and all the best for the future classes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
And
much.
thank you for all the participants for your patience listening.